Beyonce couldn't get pregnant, not naturally. What I do know is this. Beyonce got on that stage with that fake baby bump. It was lined up with the same timing of where Cathy White would have been in her second trimester. The timeline of when she delivered Blue Ivy lines up almost perfect with the timeline of when Cathy...
Welcome back to Juicy Real, the spot where secrets spill, rumors twist, and the truth is always stranger than fiction.
White would have delivered. We all know that Blue Ivy came from a surrogate. They shut that hospital down like a president had just been. And parents who had just had children themselves weren't even allowed to see their own kids for 24 hours because of the security that was locking that whole thing down.
$1.3 million is alleged that Beyonce and Jay-Z, the Carters, paid this hospital to have the right.
Today's scandal? It's got Beyonce, Jay-Z, and one of the wildest theories the industry has ever whispered about. So here's the bombshell. People are saying that Blue Ivy wasn't born the way we've been told. The story goes that Jay's late mistress, Cathy White, was pregnant at the time of her shocking death, and the child she was carrying was actually Blue Ivy. Fans have been speculating for years, but it all came roaring back when Jaguar Wright threw gasoline on the fire, pointing fingers straight at Beyonce. She claimed Bey didn't just push Jay to silence Cathy, but also took the unborn child as her own.
Well, there is this video of her baby bump caving in as she was sitting.
What must have been a fake baby bump visually collapsed as she sat down. I admit, that did look weird, but maybe it was a weird camera angle. Or maybe she wears extra padding to keep her due date a secret. And yes, maybe Beyonce isn't actually pregnant.
The rumor paints a chilling picture. Cathy allegedly lost her life while still pregnant, and Beyonce faked a pregnancy to cover it all up. Then, right after Cathy was gone, Blue Ivy's birth announcement hit the blogs with perfect timing, like a carefully staged performance. That timing was too suspicious for some fans to ignore, and whispers quickly turned into full-on theories. And just when you thought it couldn't get crazier, Katt Williams, yes, the comedian known for never holding his tongue, stepped in, claiming Jaguar was telling the truth. That sent shockwaves across social media because people never expected Katt to co-sign such explosive accusations. The rumors had cooled down until Beyonce dropped her album, Cowboy Carter.
If it's what you truly want, I can wear her skin over mine. Her hair over mine. Her hands as...
One track, Daughter, set the internet on fire because people swore it sounded like a confession. The lyrics? They hint at silencing a mistress and covering things up with a lover, way too close to the alleged story. Fans started asking, was this Beyonce's hidden way of admitting to something darker, or just art being taken way out of context?
Gloves. Her teeth as confetti. Her scalp a cap. Her sternum my bedazzled cane. We can pose for a photograph. All three of us. Immortalized. You and your perfect.
The conspiracy doesn't stop there. Fans think the song title itself was a direct nod to Blue Ivy, tying her back to the baby Cathy was carrying at the time of her sudden, tragic death. And the lyrics? They're way too chilling to brush off. Beyonce sings, "Your body laid out on these filthy floors. Your blood stains on my custom couture. I really tried to stay cool, but your arrogance disturbed my solitude. Now I ripped your dress and you're all black and blue. Look what you made me do." People read those lines and froze. It sounded less like art and more like a play-by-play of something violent. And then she goes further with lines about being nothing like her father, colder than Titanic water, and what happens when someone crosses her. Some fans said, "It's just a song, stop reaching." But others swore those details were too sharp, too personal, and way too violent to be pure fiction. Now here's where things get extra twisted. The official story was that Cathy died from a brain aneurysm. That's what the report said, neat and clean. But as the years passed, fans started poking at the timeline, and cracks began to show. They pulled receipts, interviews, and dates, and suddenly the puzzle didn't look so clean anymore.
Barely. She actually died screaming, and the Carters are responsible. But one of them is just a little more responsible than the other. Question is, did Sean Carter delete his mistress, his pregnant mistress, because his wife was jealous? Or could it be possible?
So let's rewind to August 28th, 2011. Beyoncé walks out at the MTV VMAs, glowing, rubbing her belly, and announcing her pregnancy to the world. The crowd went crazy, but behind the curtain, people now say that timeline didn't line up. Fast forward just a few months, January 12th, 2012, Beyoncé announces she gave birth to Blue Ivy. Cute moment, right? Except here's the shady part. Around that same exact time, Cathy White was also pregnant, reportedly just days from giving birth herself. Then suddenly, boom, she's found dead in her home. No warning, no real explanation, just gone. And then, almost immediately after, Beyoncé and Jay-Z hit the press with their new Baby Joy. The timing? Way too close for comfort.
That maybe his wife's temper is just a little worse than most people think. And maybe he just had to clean it up to protect the brand, see? I mean, I'm just speculating.
That's why fans keep saying Beyoncé was never really pregnant. People insist the folding belly incident caught on video, plus the suspicious VMA reveal, plus Cathy's sudden death all add up to one messy cover-up. And the wildest claim of all, that Blue Ivy wasn't born from Beyoncé at all, but through surrogacy, with Cathy herself as the carrier. Here's where the surrogacy theory gets deep. In gestational surrogacy, the woman carrying the baby isn't genetically tied to the child. The embryo comes from the intended parents, the father's sperm, the mother's egg, and the surrogate is just the carrier. That's why fans believe Blue Ivy looks exactly like both Jay-Z and Beyoncé, even though Bey allegedly never carried her. And the so-called proof? That viral clip of Beyoncé's belly seemingly folding in as she sat down during an interview. People replayed it again and again, saying, "No pregnant stomach moves like that." To this day, it remains one of the most controversial pieces of footage in celebrity history, fueling endless debates about whether Beyoncé faked her bump. But the theory gets even darker. Word on the street says Beyoncé allegedly made sure Cathy was out of the picture after Blue was born because she didn't trust her. The whispers claim that Cathy might have gone right back to sleeping with Jay, and Bey wasn't about to let that mess up her family image. With Cathy gone, the threat of her ever stepping forward with receipts or exposing secrets was gone too. And then there's the hospital drama. Reports say Beyoncé and Jay-Z dropped over $1.3 million to shut down an entire hospital floor during Blue's birth announcement. Nurses couldn't move freely, other families were reportedly turned away, and the whole floor was locked down like a private fortress. Fans couldn't help but ask, why go to such extreme lengths if it was a normal delivery? Why spend that kind of money unless there was something to hide? Unless there was something shady hiding in plain sight, something the public was never meant to know. Fans started pointing to one of Beyoncé's darker tracks, Anger, where she spits some chilling lines about doing anything to keep her man. The most disturbing, she raps about wearing the skin and hair of her husband's dead lover if that's what it takes to keep him bound to her forever. That's the kind of lyric that makes you stop the music and say, wait, what did she just say? And then came a bombshell twist from a since-deleted article on Hollywood Street King. The site claimed they spoke directly to an NYPD officer who was part of Cathy's death investigation. And what they heard was wild. According to the report, the cops straight up said her death wasn't some random brain aneurysm like the official story claimed. Nope. They hinted it was homicide. The article described it like this. Yesterday, I got the news that Cathy Michelle White had suddenly passed away. So I quickly began my investigation. And guess what? Cathy did not die from a brain aneurysm as reported all over the internet today. According to an NYPD detective who told me, Cathy's cause of death is uncertain. Later today, we will have the autopsy and toxicology reports. Right now, the death is considered suspicious. That one paragraph shook the internet because it flipped the whole narrative upside down. If law enforcement really suspected foul play back then, why was the story so quickly tied up with a neat aneurysm bow? Fans say that deleted article is the smoking gun, proof that something way more sinister went down. The details of that night make the story even more suspicious. Reports say a 911 call came in from an apartment on West 19th Street in Manhattan, claiming Cathy was suddenly sick. An ambulance rushed her to Beth Israel Hospital, but by the time she got there, it was already too late. She was pronounced dead. At first, the talk of a brain aneurysm spread fast, but even early on, some investigators said it was way too soon to jump to that conclusion. They pushed for an autopsy and toxicology tests, hinting that maybe Cathy had been given something harmful before she collapsed. And here's where the timeline gets explosive. Just 2 weeks before her death, Cathy was reportedly contacted by a major tabloid digging into her connection with Jay-Z. At first, she only gave them crumbs, but sources say she later phoned Jay directly and told him she was ready to go public with their affair. If the price was right, think about that. She had leverage, she had the press on her side, and she was gearing up to drop the kind of story that could shake the whole empire. Then, not even 3 weeks later, just 48 hours after Beyoncé made her big baby announcement at the VMAs, Cathy suddenly turns up dead under what many call mysterious circumstances. The overlap was too clean, too calculated, and way too suspicious for fans to ignore. And the theories didn't stop there. Jaguar Wright jumped back into the spotlight with another explosive interview. This time, she doubled down, painting Beyoncé as the mastermind behind one of the coldest cover-ups in music history. Jaguar claimed Bey faked her pregnancy while Cathy carried the real baby, Blue Ivy. Then, after Cathy gave birth, Beyoncé allegedly took the child and made sure Cathy was permanently silenced so no one would ever question the story again. The way Jaguar tells it, Blue Ivy wasn't just a baby announcement moment for Jay and Bey. She was at the center of a dark scandal that insiders claim was scrubbed clean before the world could connect the dots. Now here's where things get even more tangled. Names you wouldn't expect started getting pulled into this storm. Take Claudia Jordan, for example. Whispers suggest she knows more than she lets on, but the one who really shook things up was journalist Liz Crokin. Liz went public claiming she was just days away from locking in an exclusive sit-down with Cathy about her affair with Jay-Z. And then suddenly, Cathy was gone. The timing? Too eerie to ignore. And Liz didn't hold back her words. She dropped a fiery statement saying, "When Kanye West says Jay-Z has murder, I believe he's talking about the people behind Cathy White's death. I was the reporter who spoke to your alleged mistress right before she died, and that interview got deleted. I know everything. I know what you did. Go F yourself. Your time is coming. Maybe you and Diddy can share a prison cell together. Justice is coming." She didn't stop there either. Liz went further, adding, "It's only a matter of time before spirit cooking Jay-Z is exposed just like Diddy. There's a reason Kanye said Jay's got blood on his hands. I know he's evil to the core. I pray there will be justice for Cathy White. One day, the false idols will continue to fall. Mark my words." That rant lit the internet on fire because she wasn't speaking in riddles. She was calling Jay-Z out by name, connecting him to both Cathy and to Kanye's past cryptic warnings. Suddenly, people started revisiting Kanye's infamous comments, convinced that this is exactly what he'd been hinting at for years. And then comes the Katt Williams angle. Word on the street is, the reason Katt hasn't fully stepped into the ring with these allegations is simple: legal heat. Insiders claim Jay and Bey have threatened lawsuits before, the same way they supposedly went after Jaguar Wright when she went on Piers Morgan's show and refused to back down. That's why Katt's been dancing around it instead of blasting them head-on. And that silence, it's got people talking even louder. Industry insiders whisper that Jay and Bey have a reputation for using lawsuits as weapons, not to win in court, but to shut mouths before the real dirt spills out. Stars who once hinted at knowing something suddenly went quiet. Interviews vanished from the internet, and blogs mysteriously pulled stories down overnight. Coincidence? Fans don't think so. Jaguar Wright herself said it best during one of her fiery interviews. "They don't just scare you with lawyers, they scare you with power." That line stuck with people because the pattern was too obvious. Every time someone stepped forward with claims about Cathy White, about Blue Ivy's birth, or about Jay-Z's alleged dark side, they either disappeared from the conversation or doubled back saying they were misquoted. Even smaller bloggers came forward saying they'd been hit with cease and desist letters the moment they mentioned Cathy's name. One podcaster claimed their entire channel was taken down within 48 hours of releasing an episode about the alleged cover-up. And while no one can prove who's pulling the strings, the timing has fans screaming cover-up louder than ever. What makes it even spookier is how the mainstream media rarely touches the topic. Sure, the blogs run wild, but the big outlets? Silence. Some fans believe the power couple's connections run so deep that networks, magazines, and even streaming platforms don't want to risk angering them. When billions are on the line, protecting the brand becomes more important than chasing the truth. But the internet doesn't forget. Every deleted article, every mysteriously vanished clip only fuels the theory that something really did happen to Cathy White. And that Blue Ivy's birth was not the fairy tale moment it was sold as. And if the rumors about lawsuits and intimidation are true, then maybe the silence from celebrities like Katt Williams isn't about not knowing. Maybe it's about not wanting to be the next one shut down. And here's where the fans really turned into detectives. With celebrities staying quiet and blogs wiping articles, everyday people on social media started piecing the puzzle together themselves. TikTok, Reddit, and old YouTube clips became the new evidence room. People were pulling screenshots of the infamous folding belly moment, comparing the timestamps of Beyoncé's VMA pregnancy reveal with Cathy's sudden death, and even digging up archived blogs that had been deleted years ago. One viral thread laid it all out like a timeline. August 2011, Beyoncé reveals her pregnancy. September, rumors of Jay's affair with Cathy start bubbling again. October, reports surface of Cathy being in contact with a tabloid. December, she allegedly tells Jay she'll go public. And then, January 2012, Beyoncé and Jay announce Blue Ivy's birth, while Cathy is suddenly gone. Fans said it looked less like coincidence and more like a chess game where every piece was moved with precision. Even more wild, some users claimed they found inconsistencies in the hospital photos that were released. The blankets didn't match the hospital's standard, the background looked staged, and certain nurses refused to comment when asked years later. It might sound crazy, but the more people dug, the harder it got to just laugh it off. And let's not forget the lyrics, because the Bayhive can't keep fans from replaying them line by line. Whether it's, "Your blood stains on my couture," or "Look what you made me do," the words hit too close to the alleged narrative. People said it felt less like a song and more like a diary entry set to music. The fact that Beyoncé has never explained the meaning only made fans double down. By this point, the debate split the internet into two camps. On one side, die-hard fans defending Bey and Jay with everything they had, saying the rumors were jealous lies. On the other side, conspiracy chasers and casual listeners who just couldn't ignore the dots being connected. And the louder the defenders screamed, the louder the doubters shouted back, dragging up more evidence with every post. But here's the kicker. Even now, Katt allegedly still insists Blue Ivy isn't Beyoncé's biological child. And what's wild is how many people agree with him. Fans flood the comments saying they've believed this for years, calling out Bey for supposedly taking Blue from Cathy. One person wrote, "If Blue was born January 7th, that means when Beyoncé announced at the VMAs, she was supposedly 4 months pregnant. But her belly looked way too big for that stage. It didn't add up." Another fan chimed in, "I remember reading about this back in 2017, the whole deflated baby bump thing. At first I didn't want to believe it, tried to erase it from my feed, but here we are again, and the same questions keep coming back." The internet never forgets, and once old receipts start resurfacing, it's impossible to put the genie back in the bottle. Now the conversation is spinning faster than ever. Some swear Katt Williams, Jaguar Wright, and Liz Crokin are all telling the truth, while others say it's just another round of wild conspiracy talk. But here's the reality. the suspicions around Cathy's sudden death, the shaky pregnancy timeline, and the lyrics that sound way too personal, they keep feeding the theory that something darker really went down. So, now it's your turn. Do you believe the claims that Beyoncé faked her pregnancy and Blue Ivy was actually Cathy's child? Do you think Bey and Jay were hiding way more than the world ever knew? Drop your thoughts in the comments, because this might just be one of the biggest unsolved scandals in music history. And before you bounce, make sure you hit that subscribe button to Juicy Reel, because trust me, you don't want to miss the next wave of secrets we're about to uncover.